All right, gang. Welcome to another episode of your Saltwater Guide. Today we're going to talk about catching white sea bass and what I believe are the best ways to do it. First of all, you got to have some spots. So you already know the spots. You've been on my spots videos and you know the spots. So let's just pretend like we already know the spots. We know how to anchor on them. We know we're looking for current or tidal movement or slack tide or whatever we're looking for that day. Now we're going to fish. Normally, you're going to fish sea bass with squid. We have a phenomenal amount of squid in our bite. It's May 25th, 2020 when I'm making this video, particularly. You guys could be looking at it a year from now. I don't know. But this sea bass that we have, I don't know if you've ever seen a sea bass or not, but their white sea bass's mouth is out in front of them. Therefore, this is the reason why most of you only catch bat rays when you go white sea bass fishing, because you lay your bait down on the bottom of the ocean. If your bait is laying on the bottom, you got about a 0% chance of catching a sea bass. It has to be somewhere suspended off the bottom. Sea bass aren't going down in the bottom and digging around in the sand and the mud, if you will. They're feeding in the water column, somewhere between the surface and the bottom, but not laying on the bottom. So you're going to want your bait to be slowly sinking through the water column. So I suggest a couple ways to do that. One way would be a sliding sinker attached right to your line, sliding right down to your hook, and then I'm going to use a thin wire hook. So some people like to use an octopus hook. I like to use a thin wire 4/0 mustad hook. And I hook the squid exactly the way that I show you in my hook a squid video. I have a video set up just for hooking squid. So look at that video, and that's how you want to fish with the squid. You want to hook them the exact way that it shows on the how to hook a squid video. And then you want to throw it out into the water and let it slowly sink down the water column. When it gets all the way down to the bottom, reel it back up and throw it back out. Constantly be moving your bait. I never let my bait set on the bottom. I'm always throwing it back out and let it sink in the water column. 9 out of 10 times, though, when I throw it back out there, it's going to get a bite on something. White sea bass, yellowtail, calico bass, blue perch, sheephead, something. If something's biting it, that's good. If nothing's biting it, it's time to move. How do I decide how much weight? I like to go with the least amount of weight as possible. Why don't I fly line a squid? Because if you've ever thrown a squid out, the minute it hits the surface, it just lays there, and then a seagull eats it. So I put a very small amount of weight on, just enough to get me down to the bottom as slow as possible. So if I can get away with 1/8 of an ounce or 1/4 of an ounce of weight, I'm going to use it. But if there's more current and if I'm in deeper water, then I'm going to go to a heavier weight. I may go up to a half, maybe 3/4 of an ounce. Very rarely will I fish a 1 ounce slider on a live squid or a dead squid, because of the fact that it's sinking through the water column too fast, unless the current is smoldering. Then if it's smoldering and I'm out in deeper water, I'll probably use a white jig, a TLC with the squid hooked onto it, and drop it straight down because it's very heavy. TLC is a very heavy jig. But the lead heads I like to use are these orange lead heads. A friend of mine pours them. They're not for sale anywhere. You can go out to your local tackle stores and look for an orange-headed lead head. It's going to have a big hook to support your squid on it. But I like to use these. They're not very heavy. They sink down in the water column good. And I believe that orange on the head is a reaction color to that sea bass. When they see that squid sinking down in the water column with his tail all bright orange, they have a tendency to want to eat it. But once again, what I told you in the beginning of this video, don't let your bait lay on the bottom. Now, I know some of you say, well, I like to fish a dropper loop, Dave, with the rod and the rod holder. That's great, because your bait isn't laying on the bottom. If you tie your dropper loop correct, the weight is on the bottom. 12 to 18 inches above your weight is where you're going to have your dropper loop, and your hook's going to be right there, and your squid is hooked onto it. So it's going to be off the bottom 12 to 18 inches. And those sea bass, that's what they're doing. They're swimming back and forth across the bottom if they're on that squid nest looking for squid. So that's a perfect way to set it up. But if your bait lays on the bottom, you've got a very slim chance to catch a sea bass. And I know your brother, sister's cousin caught one once laying his bait on the bottom. I want to catch them every time. I don't want to just maybe get that one. If you lay your bait on the bottom, you're going to get a bat ray or a shovel nose or leopard shark. If you've seen the leopard sharks, their mouths are on the bottom of their face. So that's what you need to do, is keep that bait moving all the time. Always constantly be going through the water column, changing your weight depending on the current and the depth of the water. And hopefully that helps you to get closer to your targeted species, that white sea bass. That's on a lot of people's bucket list, so you got to really pay attention to how you're fishing them. I like to fish them with that bait sinking in the water column, constantly moving it, casting it back out, letting it sink back in the water column. Never stop moving your bait. Hopefully that helps you guys. And I got a lot of more videos coming, so just hang in there. Welcome. Thank you. Keep watching. I'll keep teaching. Bye.